Alright guys, happy hump day and welcome to Wayne's World Garage. We're sawing logs again today. We're at the sawmill. And before I get started, I'm going to try something a little bit different. Pretty much this entire video is going to be voiceovers. And you'll hear the sound of the saw running. But the problem is I can't get the sound to work properly with this big Minneapolis molding engine cranking away in the background and a 48 or 56 inch saw cutting these logs up. So I'll try the voiceovers instead. Leave a comment if you like it or if you hate it, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But to get started, you'll see Doug here with a black hat is brooming off the logs. What the heck? Well, we have to do that, unfortunately, because I drag them out of the woods, or Phil, Alan, and I drag them out of the woods. And once we get them to the sawmill, there's a little bit of mud on them. And somebody says, yeah, I want you to pressure spray them. Well, easier said than done. But anyway, hope you enjoy the video. So just so you know, none of us here are trained as a sawyer. It's all OJT, on the job training. And there's three of us here that are, quote, learning how to saw logs. So it's me, you'll see Doug with a black hat and a brown jacket, and Gary oftentimes is sawing logs. And we're all kind of learning by doing, with lots of good input from the other guys too, because maybe there is a book on this stuff. If there's a book on it, let me know about it. But we're learning how to do it, and we've made so many improvements on this sawmill, we have to kind of change the way we're operating. So one of the things you'll see I'm trying to do is we want to push these logs through the saw fairly quickly. And I think if we go too slow, we end up getting small sawdust, not quite as efficient as it should be. I think with the changes to the lead on the saw, new head blocks, we just checked the saw this week. It's pretty sharp. It works out pretty well. So what we're doing, we'll alternate a little bit here, and we all get some experience here. I'm cutting boards today for our pavilion because I need those little vertical pieces just to finish them off at the edges. I'll show you a picture of it. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to cut some 1x6s out of this log. I only need 16, but I think I got like 30 of them. So we'll see how it goes. So we do respond to feedback, and one of the guys made a great comment, said he's been sawing logs and doing lumber work for like 40 years. And he says, guys, what you got to do is when you roll that, save yourself some time when you roll that log, and put the first flat side back against the knees, which is a vertical thing which sticks up in the back. We've tried that a couple times, and I believe, I don't know if it's because our knees are worn, maybe we're not experienced enough. The results we get are much better if we take the little bit of extra effort and roll the flat side of the log to the bottom. And we seem to end up with 90-degree angles on all four corners after we do that. Ideally, yeah, just push it against the back of the knees, pull it forward, and then cut it. Maybe I'll try that next week and see how it works, just as an experiment. But right now, our experience is showing with us, or a lack of experience, we're better off taking a little bit more effort and rolling it another 90 degrees so the first flat spot is on the bottom. It's harder to do. Additionally, somebody said, why don't you guys show a little bit of the offloading operation? So a little bit further on in this video, once we get this log squared up, made a couple cants, we'll be sawing boards, and we're going to show you guys some of the offloading process too. So I'm going to keep jumping in here just to wake you up so you don't fall asleep. One of the things we did this week is a couple of us showed up at the sawmill and we started looking at exactly how the Setworks operate. And I already get you a better picture of that. I will, because this thing is set up. It's supposed to cut wood accurately to a 32nd of an inch. And for the most part, I think it does. And there's a whole bunch of little settings you can adjust on the Setworks. The Setworks is that little thing I pull with my right arm. And it's set up right now. I want to get 1-inch boards out of this. So every time I pull that lever, Okay, I want a repeatable result, so they're exactly 1 inches. And that's what we've got set up right now. And we're doing this so if I want to put 1.5 inch boards, or if Gary wants to saw 2-inch boards, we can do it, and we can do it repeatable. So there's a little bit of a learning curve here, big learning curve actually, and it's learning how the equipment operates. So it's a great experience. We're all kind of doing that together. So while it may look like I'm trying to stick my head into the saw blade here, that's not exactly what I'm trying to do. What I want to do is I want to examine the results of our experimentation for earlier this week. And what you see me doing right now, I'm going to the back of the Setworks. I wish I had a better video of this. And there's 3 little, I call them flappers, that you can adjust. And they will make the boards that we saw heavy or lighter. Heavy meaning a little bit thicker, lighter meaning a little bit thinner. I mean, these guys, when they built this thing and designed it 80 years ago or 100 years ago, they knew what they were doing. They were smart guys. So they left some adjustment in there. Although we have found out that some of the adjustment parameters have changed because there's so much wear on this saw. So just those 3 little flappers that I am adjusting with right now, I took them home, we drilled them out, put new bushings in them, so hopefully they will work a little bit better. With the understanding, hope's not a plan. So now I'm happy that I've got 2 sides of this log squared off. We're going to take it one more time. We're going to adjust it so that we've got a flat side on the bottom of the head blocks, which I believe is what they're called. Let me know if I said that wrong. And we've got a flat side against the back of the knees. And then when we slab this thing off, we'll have 3 perpendicular sides for you guys that went to grammar school and have that all figured out. This is probably the hardest part of what we do here, is turning these logs. This is a little bit tricky, and you'll see if we work together as a team, it's not too bad. But this log still weighs, started out as a 1,500 pound log, and we've made it a little bit lighter, but it's not easy to move. So I apologize, this is probably very redundant for you guys, but what we're doing here is we adjust the knees back and forth to give us room for the log, so we roll the log. And then we pull the knees back up to the back of the log and make sure it's square. Now right there you see Doug and I, simultaneously, we put the dogs into the log. Those little white things that you see are dogs. And the dogs end up holding the log on the head blocks. The head blocks of the galvanized steel that we've got. We're pretty happy about this because right now we've got 90 degrees between the bottom of the head blocks and the back of the knees. Although the knees aren't exactly straight either, they're worn from 80 years of use. So now what the heck are we doing here? Doug and I are having a quick discussion, or at least I'm asking Doug his opinion. What do we do next, or how we do this next? We've got 3 sides squared away, and I want to start making cants. And once we have our cants squared up, then we'll put the cants on the rack, and we can roll a log and cut off the rest of that bark and start making boards. I'm making 1x6s here. That's what we're sewing. So what I want to do is I want to pull this lever like enough times so I get exactly 6 inches. And it's actually working pretty well. So when the Setworks are set up properly, when you pull that lever, it will include the kerf, which is the thickness of the 48-inch saw, which goes in circles and then contacts it. And that's important to remember. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to get 2 big cants out of this guy, and we can square them up, and then we'll be able to start cutting boards. And if you take a look at this, this is pretty cool. This is a 20 some odd inch log, I think, maybe a little bit bigger than that, and it's cutting quite well. Sorry to keep interrupting, but this is actually pretty important. As you'll see, when I'm pushing this log forward to cut this cant, I don't want the cant to fall off at the south end of the sawmill. Otherwise, we have to somehow get it back up here onto our track and our carriage then. So what we're doing, and Pete's the one who told me this, is you pull the log forward, and as soon as that cant drops to the to the tracks, or the rollers, whatever you want to call it, where they normally take the boards off, as soon as that happens, you immediately bring the log back. And that way, the log will be attached to the cant, and you'll have one piece. All you have to do is pull it off. It's easier said than done, and certainly I've screwed it up a couple times, which doesn't amuse anybody, because then we have to figure out how to get the stupid thing back. So just so you know, none of us here are trained as a sawyer. It's all OJT, on the job training. And there's 3 of us here that are, quote, learning how to saw logs. So it's me, you'll see Doug with a black hat and a brown jacket, and Gary. So I'm going to keep jumping in here just to wake you up so you don't fall asleep. one of the things we did this week is a couple of us showed up at the sawmill and we started looking at exactly how the Setworks operate. And I already get you a better picture. Okay, we've got Bruce doing the offloading here, as you've probably seen in the red hat. And usually his job isn't too bad. Take the boards as they come off and slide them down, and then they can load them up onto the forklift or the tractor or the trailer, wherever they're going. But right now, his job is a little more complicated on the last board. So what he's doing, he's pulling up the dogs. After he pulls the dogs up, put the board back on the rollers and roll it out of the way. So what we have here is Phil is in a black jacket all the way to the right. You got Matt behind him. And these are the first couple of boards we're cutting off the log, or this cant, which aren't exactly perfect. We get plenty of logs here. There's no use in saving each board. If we're trying to sell each to make money, it'd be a little bit different story. So they kind of sort the boards out and decide which ones they're going to keep and not keep. So this is all there is for this episode of Wayne's World Garage. I cut the one log here, Doug cut the other two, got plenty of boards. He got plenty of boards. The sawmill is running pretty good. We've got some question about the lead on the saw. Discussed that at lunch today. We've got a couple of ideas. We might actually have a little bit too much lead. You know, as Doug said, it's shooting rooster tails up, and maybe it's hitting the board as it comes off also. So we're going to check that out this week, figure out a couple more things to make our sawmill a little bit better. So I hope you sure enjoyed watching this. We got plenty of boards. Happily, our sawmill is running fabulously. We've got no complaints. And I shouldn't say that too loudly, because as soon as I do, something will go wrong. But anyway, if you want to, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. We tried a little bit different format this time because of your comments. Take care and have a great day.